notes real quick. What am I supposed to say next? Oh yeah, welcome to Heavy D Storytelling. We are going to be reading a story, but first up we are going to be reading the
B-I-B-L-E.
The Bible, and then we're going to be reading, no, we're not going to be reading, we're going to be doing a synopsis. And then we're going to be reading the Progress Pilgrims. So I hope you guys enjoy. Make sure to like, button, subscribe, and hit the bell on the video. And next I'll get off the chair and let Dad read. Oh, I have to actually do that, not say that.
Hello. Silly, silly, silly. All right, we're in Exodus chapter 10. This is the English Standard Version. We've got plagues 8 and 9 today. Let me begin. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Go in to Pharaoh, for I have hardened his heart and the heart of his servants, that I may show these signs of mine among them, and that you may tell in the hearing of your son and of your grandson how I have dealt harshly with the Egyptians, and what signs I have done among them, that you may know that I am the Lord." So Moses and Aaron went in to Pharaoh and said to him, "Thus says the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, how long will you refuse to humble yourself before me? Let my people go, that they may serve me. For if you refuse to let my people go, behold, tomorrow I will bring locusts into your country, and they shall cover the face of the land, so that no one can see the land. And they shall eat what is left to you after the hail, and they shall eat every tree of yours that grows in the field, and they shall fill your houses and the houses of all your servants and of all the Egyptians, as neither your fathers nor your grandfathers have seen, from the day they came on earth to this day." Then he turned and went out from Pharaoh. Then Pharaoh's servant said to him, "How long shall this man be a snare to us? Let the men go, that they may serve the Lord their God. Do you not yet understand that Egypt is ruined?" So Moses and Aaron were brought back to Pharaoh, and he said to them, "Go serve the Lord your God, but which ones are to go?" Moses said, "We will go with our young and our old. We will go with our sons and daughters, and with our flocks and herds, for we must hold a feast to the Lord." But he said to them, "The Lord be with you, if ever I let you and your little ones go. Look, you have some evil purpose in mind. No, go, the men among you, and serve the Lord, for that is what you are asking." And they were driven out from Pharaoh's presence. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand over the land of Egypt for the locusts, so that they may come upon the land of Egypt and eat every plant in the land, all that the hail has left." So Moses stretched out his staff over the land of Egypt, and the Lord brought an east wind upon the land all that day and all that night. When it was morning, the east wind had brought the locusts. The locusts came up over all the land of Egypt and settled on the whole country of Egypt, such a dense swarm of locusts as had never been seen before, or had never been before, nor ever will be again. They covered the face of the whole land, so that the land was darkened, and they ate all the plants in the land, and all the fruit of the trees that the hail had left. Not a green thing remained, neither tree nor plant of the field, through all the land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh hastily called Moses and Aaron and said, "I have sinned against the Lord your God and against you. Now therefore forgive my sin, please, only this once, and plead with the Lord your God only to remove this death from me." So he went out from Pharaoh and pleaded with the Lord, and the Lord turned the wind into a very strong west wind, which lifted the locusts and drove them into the Red Sea. Not a single locust was left in all the country of Egypt, but the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he did not let the people of Israel go. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand toward heaven, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, a darkness to be felt." So Moses stretched out his hand toward heaven, and there was pitch darkness in all the land of Egypt 3 days. They did not see one another, nor did anyone rise from his place for 3 days. But all the people of Israel had light where they lived. Then Pharaoh called Moses and said, "Go serve the Lord. Your little ones also may go with you. Only let your flocks and your herds remain behind." But Moses said, "You must also let us have sacrifices and burnt offerings, that we may sacrifice to the Lord our God. Our livestock must go with us. Not a hoof shall be left behind, for we must take of them to serve the Lord our God, and we do not know with what we must serve the Lord until we arrive there." But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he would not let them go. Then Pharaoh said to him, "Get away from me. Take care never to see my face again, for on the day you see my face, you shall die." Moses said, "As you say, I will not see your face again." And tomorrow we will learn all about the final plague and what is to come. All right. So we're in the middle of Pilgrim's Progress, and in the last chapter, there was an interpreter who interpreted this painting that they saw with the king, or it looks like a king. It has a crown on his head, and he's holding a Bible, and all this and everything. And then they went into this room, and the broom that represented the law, which is what we're reading about right now, since we're reading about Exodus. We haven't gotten to the law part yet, but we're getting there. The broom that represents the law cleaned the whole room, and it was spotless just from the broom by itself. And here's Kimberly to say how it really happened.
Hang on a sec.
No. Okay.
Okay,
All right,
I'm done.
Here's Kim to say how it really happened.
Dad, first off, I want to say the Pharaoh is so dumb. I don't know how. Oh, look, this group's God actually does things. He actually sends a bunch of natural disasters when I tell them they can't go sacrifice. And when I tell Moses that he can go sacrifice, he prays, and then all the bad things go away. And then here's my brilliant plan. I'm gonna say, "No, you can't go. I changed my mind." How stupid is he? But anyway, about the thing, the interpreter did not see a grand king. He saw, I think it was like a humble person, like kind of gazing up at the sky a little bit. And when they went into the room, which was just crazily dirty, Mom would have had a heart attack and died. He had it swept, but sweeping it didn't do it at all. They had to have water to collect all the dust, and the sweeping was the law, and it paved the way for the gospel, which is represented by the water.
So you're saying the broom didn't just magically...
Well, I'm going to hand it off to Dad, who's going to read us a story.
Okay, and I would also just like to point out, since we had our little commentary about the Pharaoh, I want to point out that the popular notion that Pharaoh Ramesses was, and I think I've said this before, was the Pharaoh during the Exodus is absolute preposterous. It just doesn't make sense, because whichever Pharaoh it was, and it's never named, meaning it doesn't really matter, right? but whichever pharaoh it was, did not build the Egyptian civilization. So it would make 0 sense for it to have been Ramesses, who was the greatest builder, possibly, for sure, of the New Kingdom. So anyway, all right. All the popular renditions that have Ramesses, which includes Prince of Egypt and the Ten Commandments, and actually, I think there was a commentary back in the 1800s that came up with that idea, and I really think that it came from the concept of them naming the town Ramesses, which was probably named later when the book was being written, or even possibly when it was being copied during the time of the Babylonian exile. All right, so yes, I do ramble from time to time, but that is my soapbox, and now I will begin the reading portion of this reading live stream. All right, so this is chapter 9, Patience and Passion, Fire on the Wall, Valiant Man. I saw, moreover, in my dream that the interpreter took him by the hand and had him into a little room where sat 2 little children, each one in his chair. The name of the eldest was Passion, and the name of the other Patience. Passion seemed to be much discontented, but Patience was very quiet. Then Christian asked, "What is the reason of the discontent of Passion?" The interpreter answered, "The governor of them would have him stay for his best things till the beginning of the next year, but he will have all now. But Patience is willing to wait." Then I saw that one came to Passion and brought him a bag of treasure and poured it down at his feet, the which he took up and rejoiced therein, and withal laughed Patience to scorn. But I beheld but a while, and he had lavished all away, and had nothing left him but rags. Christian. Then said Christian to the interpreter, "Expound this matter more fully to me." Interpreter. So he said, "These 2 lads are figures, Passion of the men of this world, and Patience of the men of that which is to come. For as here thou seest, Passion will have all now, this year, that is to say, in this world, so are the men of this world. They must have all their good things now. They cannot stay till the next year, that is, until the next world, for their portion of good. The proverb, 'A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush,' is of more authority with them than are all the divine testimonies of the good of the world to come. But as thou sawest that he had quickly lavished all away, and had presently left him nothing but rags, so will it be with all such men at the end of this world." Christian. Then said Christian, "Now I see that Patience has the best wisdom, and that upon many accounts, 1, because he stays for the best things, 2, and also because he will have the glory of his, when the other has nothing but rags." Interpreter. Nay, you may add another, to wit, the glory of the next world will never wear out, but these are suddenly gone. Therefore Passion had not so much reason to laugh at Patience, because he had his good things first, as Patience will have to laugh at Passion, because he had his best things last. For first must give place to last, because last must give his time to come. But last gives place to nothing, for there is not another to succeed. He, therefore, that hath his portion first, must needs have a time to spend it, but he that hath his portion last, must have it lastingly. Therefore it is said of Dives, "In thy lifetime thou receivest thy good things, and likewise Lazarus evil things, but now he is comforted, and thou art tormented." Christian. Then I perceive it is not best to covet things that are now, but to wait for things to come. Interpreter. You say truth. For the things that are seen are temporal, but the things that are not seen are eternal. But though this be so, yet since things present and our fleshly appetite are such near neighbors one to another, and again because things to come and carnal sense are such strangers one to another, therefore it is that the first of these so suddenly fall into amity, and that distance is so continued between the second. Then I saw in my dream that the interpreter took Christian by the hand and led him into a place where was a fire burning against a wall, and one standing by it, always casting much water upon it to quench it. Yet did the fire burn higher and hotter. Then said Christian, "What means this?" The interpreter answered, "This fire is the work of grace that is wrought in the heart. He that casts water upon it to extinguish and put it out is the devil. But in that thou seest the fire, notwithstanding, burn higher and hotter, thou shalt also see the reason of that. So he had him about to the back side of the wall, where he saw a man with a vessel of oil in his hand, of the which he did also continually cast, but secretly into the fire." Then said Christian, "What means this?" The interpreter answered, "This is Christ, who continually with the oil of his grace maintains the work already begun in the heart, by the means of which, notwithstanding what the devil can do, the souls of the people prove gracious still. And in that thou sawest that the man stood behind the wall to maintain the fire, this is to teach thee that it is hard for the tempted to see how this work of grace is maintained in the soul. I saw also that the interpreter took him again by the hand and led him into a pleasant place where was built a stately palace, beautiful to behold, at the sight of which Christian was greatly delighted. He saw also upon the top thereof certain persons walking, who were clothed all in gold. Then said Christian, "May we go in thither?" Then the interpreter took him and led him up toward the door of the palace, and behold, at the door stood a great company of men, as desirous to go in, but durst not. There also sat a man at a little distance from the door, at a table side, with a book and his inkhorn before him, to take the names of them that should enter therein. He saw also that in the doorway stood many men in armor to keep it, being resolved to do to the men that would enter what hurt and mischief they could. Now was Christian somewhat in amaze. At last, when every man started back for fear of the armed men, Christian saw a man of a very stout countenance come up to the man that sat there to write, saying, "Set down my name, sir." The which, when he had done, he saw the man draw his sword and put a helmet on his head, and rush toward the door upon the armed men, who laid upon him with deadly force. But the man, not at all discouraged, fell to cutting and hacking most fiercely. So after he had received and given many wounds to those that attempted to keep him out, he cut his way through them all, and pressed forward into the palace, at which there was a pleasant voice heard from those that were within, even of those that walked upon the top of the palace, saying, come in, eternal glory thou shalt win." So he went in, and was clothed with such garments as they. Then Christian smiled and said, "I think verily I know the meaning of this." "Now," said Christian, "let me go hence." "Nay, stay," said the interpreter, "till I have showed thee a little more, and after that thou shalt go on thy way." And the next chapter is called Man in Iron Cage, Man with Dream. That's chapter 10, Man in Iron Cage, Man with Dream. So we will continue henceforth tomorrow, or next time, which is probably tomorrow. And I wish you all very good tidings, and we will see you then. And God bless you. Have a great night. Thanks.